So in last chapter, this was the render we got, and we used multiply divide node to get this output. And in this chapter, I'm going to show you how to apply texture to our grass blades using simple method. Yes. So before you apply texture to any object in Maya, always know that you have to use planar mapping, cylindrical mapping. Basically we have to create UVs. Okay, so just know that. But in this case, we don't need to do this. Okay, there is an alternate method for it, and it is much better, and it is more efficient rather than doing this. And this is practically impossible to go ahead and map all those grass blades individually, so this is not going to work for us. So let's take a look at the UV map. So select your grass, go to window and UV texture editor, and this is what our UV map looks like. For now it is only a single tile, that's what it usually looks like. But for grass blades, this is not enough. This is only a single texture applied to each grass, and for every single grass blade it's using same texture, so there is no variety of textures in here, and that's not good. It's not going to look natural or realistic at all. Okay, now of course the grass has a different height and it does have different shapes, but a same texture is not going to look good at all. So alright, so we will change that. We will use at least 16, not at least, maximum 16 different textures for these grass blades. Okay, but right now let's just concentrate on applying a single texture, only one texture. Alright, so I went ahead and I did create a texture in Photoshop using these files. Okay, you can see I took a photograph of a single leaf, and I created a texture. So it is really simple to create a texture. So what you have to do is go to select grass first, go to UV texture editor, make sure your grass is selected while the UV texture editor is opened. Go to polygons, UV snapshot, and in here this is my project folder name. Now anytime you will open your UV texture editor and UV snapshot, this will by default go into images of my project folder, and it will save a name by out UV, and we can of course change that. I'm going to name it maybe grass blades UVs. Keep it 1K, that is 1024, and by default you will see Maya IFF image format, and we are going to use JPEG. Press OK and it will go into your images. So once that's done, all you have to do is open that in Photoshop and create a texture. Okay, there is another chapter on how to create this texture, so of course you can check it out and then come back to this chapter. Alright, so for now I'm going to apply this texture to our grass. So open Hypershade, and right now I have applied grass ramp through gamma. Gamma goes into multiply, which is translucency, and in here I have grass ramp which goes through gamma and which goes into color. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I don't really need two different textures and two different gammas. I can use only one texture and one gamma node, and I can still use multiply. Okay, so all I'm going to do, I'm going to delete a connection and delete these nodes. We don't need them. We also don't need cross ramp, and I'm going to simply delete it. I'm not deleting a node. I might need it. So now come here and to the texture file. Alright, always name your textures. So I'm going to name it grass blade and color so that I know, and place 2D grass blade. Alright, color, and image name, and apply. Okay, let's look for grass tile texture color. Alright, and open, and now apply this into value. That means connect this in value, not apply. Alright, let me just graph the network, and let me see if we have all the connections which are necessary, and I think not. I did not connect it into color, so let me just simply connect it, and yeah, there we go. Alright, so this is how your graph should look. Okay, just right click on your main material and click on graph network, and this is how it should look. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a little bit of roughness, so maybe 0.0.015, and I think our reflectivity is a little high, and I am going to keep glossiness of maybe 0.45. okay, also increase this glossy samples, which is quality 16, and come down here and look for ambient occlusion, turn it on. Alright, and in this option use little distance. Instead of using on, select with color bleed. Alright, I'll tell you what this does, but just follow the procedure for now. Of course we will apply bump later. Right now I want you to take a look at how the texture looks on grass. Okay, right now grass does look black, and we can't see any texture. That is because of this. Just open UV texture editor, select your grass, come to textures, and select the texture you have applied, and there we go. Alright, and I'm going to take a quick render, and this is how it looks with textures applied, and I must say it does look good compared to this. And of course it did took about 6 minutes to render. I also have some other programs running on my system, but it still took 6, so there we go. And yeah, so now you can see once you apply texture to your grass starts to look more and more natural and realistic. Okay, and let me take 2 and 3 more renders from other angles, and let's see how it looks. Before I do that, let me do one more thing. I'm going to select my grass, and if you have not deleted your history yet, you will still get these options. So when we created a grass, I think it was in 2nd chapter, remember that we went in this tab, we changed it to mesh, and in here go to tubes, and in creation, and yeah, in creation you can see it has 9 segments. Okay, I'm going to increase it to about 12 or maybe 15. You can see my grass starts to look a little bit more nicer. Let's keep it 19. No, I think that's a little too much. I think 15 is just fine. Okay, it's going to increase your polygon count, and of course it's going to increase your render time, but it will look more nicer and it will look more natural. Just don't increase it too much. It is unnecessary unless your grass is too close to camera and maybe you're required to keep it maybe, I don't know, 20 or 21. I don't think it will go more than that, but I would prefer 15 or 17. I think that's more than enough. And once that's done, I'm going to take a render, and this is the render after our settings, and this is what we had. Then we applied texture, then we increased segments, that is our polygons, and I took some renders from other angles. Now you can see how our grass looks, and yeah, it does look nice. Of course there are some things are missing, like bump map and a specular map, but for now it does look nice. It has started looking natural, and let's see more. Okay, and yeah, very nice, lovely. So you can see after applying texture and proper settings, our grass can look much nicer and natural, right? And okay, so we started from here, and I think from here we got this, and we are now here. Alright, so do try making texture on your own first, and of course do check out another chapter for creating texture for grass. It is really simple, but I'm gonna walk you through it. Alright, I'm going to save this, and in next chapter, like I said, we are going to create more UV maps, okay, instead of this just one UV map, and we are going to apply different textures for different grass, and I will show you how we can do it. Alright, and I hope you enjoyed the chapter, and thank you for watching.